because of the carving done in stone over here. So all this decoration you see is carving done in stone. And this is a royal tomb, the tomb of Iltutmish, the second guy I mentioned, the one who came before, a little before Alauddin Khalji and immediately after Qutbuddin Aibak. In fact, he was the son-in-law of Aibak, who went on to become the king. Now, Iltutmish is the one who first made proper extensions to this complex. When Aibak came in, he didn't really have a great opportunity to build monumental complexes to himself. So it's said that he started building the Qutub Minar and he built the mosque we're going to see in a bit. But it was only his successors, the most important being Iltutmish, and then after him Alauddin Khalji, who have actually expanded on the complex and finished the Qutub Minar. So this is Iltutmish's tomb, and the cenotaph you see here in marble, this is a false grave. You actually have a basement below. You can see it's opening over there. There is another opening here on the floor for ventilation, but that basement has been closed off for a very long time now. In the archaeological reports by the British, prepared sometime in the early 20th century, they mentioned that they were able to locate the basement, but it was full of debris and they didn't really clean it up simply because they were not sure if the building would sustain, or because it's such an old building, they were not sure if it would still be standing once they removed the debris. And there's no follow-up on what actually happened, did they actually go in, whether the debris is still there, and if it is, it's a historic debris over there, yeah, below all of you. So this has a basement, and this is only a false grave. Now, the work you see all around you, this is a combination of what is typical in Islamic architecture. Whenever you see any building in Islamic civilization, whether it's a public building or a private residence, you won't see sculpture there. You won't see images of human beings, you won't see images of animals. You will see calligraphy, things like these, writing, and you will see patterns like these, which is called arabesque. This bit over here, the one which stands out in white, is the western side. That is why it has been made as a distinctive niche. Because this becomes the prayer niche. This being the western side, this is where you're supposed to pray towards. This is also very, this building is also a very good example of what is known as Indo-Islamic architecture. This is a very, very commonly used phrase, and you'll find it in every book on Delhi or on Islamic architecture. This basically tells you that at the beginning of the medieval period, with the coming on of new people from Central Asian region, when they come in, they get their own ideas, they get their own culture, and this included ideas in architecture. And when they came in and settled here, their own ideas mingle with the local ideas, giving rise to some sort of a fusion. So the same was seen in architecture. When I say Indo-Islamic architecture, I'm trying to say that there are some elements which are Indo, meaning it's indigenous to this area, subcontinent, and there are some ideas which are Islamic, mostly as innovations, what you see. So some of the Indic features, if I were to point out, would be features like this. This is a representation of a pot, an earthen pot, which is a symbol of prosperity. Often it is shown as an overflowing pot, a pot overflowing with greenery, wealth. So it's a great symbol of prosperity. This is lotus. Again, a symbol of prosperity, and you'll see it across the line in Hindu architecture, in Jain architecture, in Buddhist architecture, so very much a local feature. Innovations would be things like the use of the arch and the dome. You don't have them here in the Indian subcontinent before this medieval period. And this building also had a dome to top it as a roof. Now the dome has collapsed a long time ago. But it is said that this building is the first one to use the squinch arch architecturally. Now the squinch arches are the arches you see at the corners. This is a square building, so the arches at the four corners are squinch arches. And they not only look nice, but they have a technical function to perform. What they actually do is, it helps you construct a dome. Now if you look at a dome, it's a circular roof. Yeah? And your buildings are not circular. They are square or rectangular, sometimes 8-sided, but they're definitely not circular. So it's a bit of a trick to actually put a circular roof on your buildings, and they use some very simple geometry to achieve it. What they do is, you convert the four sides of your square into an 8-sided building as you go up. So your squinch arch helps you do it. So if you count just above the arch, it's an 8-sided structure. The line just above the arch, it would be an 8-sided structure. Then as you go further up, these brackets at the corners, these lumps of stone at the corners, they help you convert the 8 into a 16. So the idea is to bridge the corners so that from a 4 you get into an 8 as you go up, from an 8, a 16 and a 32 and so on. So that gradually as you go up, you have a circular base on which you can then put your dome. So that's the simplest trick, and pretty much every building which has a dome would employ it in different variations. The 4, 8, 16 is the most basic funda of this construction. Empress Razia Sultan, there's also a movie on her some time ago, yeah? Hema Malini, yeah. So a few decades ago, there's been a Bollywood movie on Razia Sultan showing her romance with one of her slaves and a person under her employ. So Razia Sultan was actually appointed by Iltutmish as the successor. He decided that none of my sons are good enough, they are quite useless, and she is the most competent of all people to be actually able to rule the subcontinent, and appointed her as the heir. And Razia went on to become the king, but there was naturally a lot of stiff opposition to her, a lot of politics, and she didn't actually manage to rule for a very long time. And her grave is in Delhi. It's in a fairly sad state and somewhere in Old Delhi near Turkman Gate area. It looks like a mound on the ground, nothing better than that. It's strange. I think the worst of rulers and the most incompetent of rulers sometimes have grand mausoleums to them. And this woman who actually tried to do something and drill sense into her nobility didn't really get a decent burial. The area beyond where we were, where you could only see the fires, was the one done by Alauddin Khalji. Now we have moved in a little bit and further back in time to Iltutmish period, and this is work done by Iltutmish. Now this passage between where his tomb stands and where his screen stands was something like a prayer hall. How do we know this? We know this because the facade, there's some brackets stand out. Yeah, this is one here, there's one over there, and this is evidence that some sort of a roof was here which covered a passage. Passage leading to the center of the mosque where the iron pillar and other things are, where the first mosque originally was. Now if you come to the other side, there's a little more about Iltutmish and Alauddin.